Okay, I guess we can start. Adam, do you want to take over?
Yeah, perfect. So, welcome. We are very happy to welcome you to our webinar. Uh, we deal with very similar issues over and over again, and we thought that maybe it would be something everyone would be interested and would like to hear more about. How we look at our issues, how we look at these issues, how we deal with them, and maybe you can all take something and learn something about platform engineering, building repeatable and reusable platforms, and moving forward today. So let's start with us. We are Labyrinth Labs. We work with different customers. We are AWS Advanced Partner. Our bread and butter is DevOps, Cloud, and Kubernetes. We work as one-stop shop for your DevOps and cloud needs, but mostly focus on Kubernetes and higher level effort work. Our mission, we help our customers transform their business and applications to become cloud native and future ready. Like we will talk about like what we mean by cloud native and how we look at that part of our work, but we definitely focus and help them to move forward and become as good and as highly available as possible. Okay, so right now we will look at some agenda. We will have some intro where we discuss challenges. Then we will go through different stages which you probably already know and experience in daily life, like time to market pressure, higher costs based on infrastructure and everything, and then technical debt. And then we will maybe discuss, and in a broader sense, how we approach that, how we look at solutions, possible solutions, and what we implemented to actually move forward. And then we will have some QA if you want. Okay, something about us. My name is Adam Hamšík, and I'm CEO and co-founder of Labyrinth Labs. The second speaker today is Martin Hauskrecht. He's our head of engineering. Okay, so because usually I think that it's good to like summarize your presentation at the beginning, because if someone falls asleep, then he can actually take something home and will remember at least something. So if you don't hear anything and disconnect after this slide, you already will probably have something to take home and will have spent, or you spent some useful time. So when we talk about infrastructure and when we talk about teams who manage infrastructure, we often see as main requirement is to be able to change and adapt to different requirements. And very often those requirements come from software, which is closely connected to business needs, but also like business itself. Like sometimes you have to cut costs and you have to make sure that you can actually do that. You need to be elastic, you need to be able to scale. So there are very often different requirements and needs coming from different departments onto infrastructure teams and infrastructure managers, and we have to be able to deal with them. So ability to adapt and change over time is absolutely crucial for any team and anyone who actually use and manages infrastructure. And then we have two principles we look at as very important, and that's dry, don't repeat yourself, and don't reinvent the wheel. Very often, I believe that good DevOps engineers and good platform engineers are lazy people. So not because they don't really want to work, but they don't really want to repeat themselves. They don't really want to do the boring work over and over again. And they look at ways how to automate it and how to make sure that they can deliver same results over and over, and not really spend a lot of time with basic automation and basic work. From our point of view, Kubernetes works as a very good common platform for everyone. It's something where you can actually build CI/CD pipelines. You can actually, with automation, you can use it for observability, and it's quite easy to get the basics right, and then help to build the platform on top of that for different customers and different needs. And experience with whole platform engineering and looking at how to move something into cloud native space is invaluable. Like it's very often like the main requirement to do it right. If you do it already 2 or 3 times, you see that it's easier and easier every time, and it works better. So from our point of view, like when we look at architecture as a application, but even for a company, we talk about like becoming cloud native. And what it means from our point of view is that if you move to cloud and you want to like get the best results from like living and existing in cloud, you actually have to become cloud native organization, and that means that you have to be more distributed. You have to work in more like loose way. You have to be able to make changes inside in your organization, but outside in your software and in your platform. Yeah, business requirements change very often, and you have to adapt and move forward. So also what we see is that very often, like, and anyone who works in corporate or bigger company has experience with this, is that business and management always has conflicting needs on you, like, or requirements. Like they want to handle a large amount of requests, but they don't really care, like they want to keep the costs at minimal. Or they want to keep a very short release cycle, but they ask for a lot of new features. So it's always something like you have to always pick your poison. Other very interesting point is that they want to keep stuff at minimum, but they want to add new services and new solutions like data analytics, AI, and ML. And you have to deal with that, and continues with that comes new features, new releases, and everything else. So it's always like you have to choose how to do it. And we believe that if you start cutting corners, it just generates more technical debt, and for everyone, it's complicated and makes their like life over time very hard and difficult. So this is what we very often see with our customers, and we try to maybe create a graphic which is more understandable for everyone. And here you can see like 3 stages where we often can see, and you can imagine that this happens very often to different customers. And initially they start the development, or they develop new features or different new products, and there is a pressure to be first on the market, or time to market pressure. So there is a business requirement to be as live as soon as possible, to deliver new features as soon as possible. Very often delivery teams or programmer developers and DevOps engineers will, at the end of the day, have to cut corners somewhere to make sure that they deliver features. They deliver them after deadline, but they deliver them sometime. So they generate quite a lot of technical debt. With technical debt, your costs on running infrastructure, you have outages because you actually forgot to do something here, something there, that will generate some outages. And you have a higher cost on people because they don't really enjoy working in your environment. You have some burnout, and you have to constantly onboard new developers into your environment and teach them and train them. So that's the part where you have an issue with technical debt, which is growing, and you have to figure out what to do. And very often our customers come to a conclusion that the only way how to get away from that is to refactor the application, maybe split the existing model into microservices architecture, or maybe rewrite different parts of the application and modules to make sure that it works better, and then hope that it will provide easier operations and better working environment for everyone. But that comes at a cost where you have to actually work on new features, you have to refactor existing modules, and then your engineers don't really have enough time to look at other opportunities, how to improve your product and how to develop real features. So if your developers have to actually rewrite half of your application and create your own platform, they don't really have time to work on anything else. And at the end of the day, that's a cost, which is not really cost of money, but it's cost of lot of opportunity. And we see this as a very crucial thing. We believe that for many companies, their needs are not that special, and they can live with our solution or something very similar, which they can build from open source, and they don't necessarily have to spend a lot of time and effort to actually build their own and unique cloud native platform. So I would like to maybe discuss those three parts in more detail, and we will start with time to market. So very often we see that after teams start developing new features, they're instantly starting to create new technical debt. It's okay, we understand why it happens. The question is if we can, and what is the way how to deal with that. One way how we can look and help to not actually generate a lot of technical debt is look at reusable patterns and blueprints. And by that, it's a common practice used very often in software development. You use libraries, you use like operating system, everything which already was developed. So the same thing can be applied to infrastructure itself. Like you don't necessarily have to create different patterns and setups on your own. You can actually go and take infrastructure as a code modules and reuse them over time without any issue, which will help you grow and move faster. And one really good point, which I have here, is that being first is not really that important at the end of the day. How you execute your work and how you execute your product and delivery, that's what really matters. Because if you are first, but your product doesn't work, then no one is going to use it anyway. I would like to also focus on costs as a second part of our issue, because I believe that this is a topic which very often hunt down our customers or everyone who is in cloud. And these days in this economic environment, it's very often important to look at costs as a significant marker. So, as I already said, having a great product is what everyone is looking for. But if you have a lot of outages, it's basically worthless and no one is going to use it. And if you figure out how to do marketing with your SaaS platform and you add a lot of users, and you cannot scale your application or it's too expensive, then again, it's very much useless for you, and you will not be able to create a nice platform in this economic environment, because no one is going to pay you or invest in you if the generic economic metrics are not really valuable and profitable. So very often what we see is that with a lot of technical debt, operation burnout comes. And what we mean by that is that your team is constantly paged and is waking up during the night because they have some operations and alarms coming in with some outages or some issues they need to resolve on infrastructure level. And that's something which will generate and will accumulate over time. And at the end of the day, your people will leave. There is a lot of historic understanding and historic knowledge which will leave with them, and you have to onboard someone else, and you have to teach them, train them, and that takes a lot of time, and that's just basically cost. And what we actually think is that your biggest asset is your people, and you should make sure that you utilize the skill and time efficiently on your product, not really on building a new infrastructure or a new platform. So I think everyone who actually run anything in production has a good old story about like temporary fix, which became permanent, and then we forgot about it, and then it actually caused an outage in production 2 years later. So what we try to look at is a technical debt and how to remove that. And we believe that there are only two options how to do that, how to move forward with accumulated technical debt. And one is try to slowly refactor everything and rework and rewrite it. And that's very labor intensive work. Or what you can do is jump forward and maybe try to cut a lot of the accumulated infrastructure technical debt in one step and maybe try to use our platform. Last but not least is a loss opportunity cost, which we discuss as the last and third segment. By fixing your technical debt, developing new features in your infrastructure and refactoring your applications, you lose time and resources you can invest into your product and move forward. We believe that our customers and very often everyone else should focus on building great product and not really and leave the infrastructure to others. It's very often the case where you have experience in some area. It's good to like pursue that and maybe leave everything else to someone who is specialized in that.
Okay, thank you, Adam. I think that we can now look at some solutions for the problems that you've mentioned, and that is, in our case, a cloud platform. So let's start with our point of view from the engineer's perspective on this. Building cloud infrastructures properly is hard, and it takes a tremendous amount of time, of effort and experience. And I'm sure that everyone who's been doing this for some time will agree. Making things stable and scalable often seems not too complicated at first. Usually you just spin something up and it runs fine, at least for some time. But as your system grows and after some time, the problem really hits you. You can run into issues caused by the initial mistakes, which you've not seen at the start. Outages, delayed releases of new features, security issues, lack of visibility, you can name it. These are usually the results of making shortcuts at the start. And we've seen and built many different setups, and I can tell you with a great deal of confidence that although each customer case are unique, the challenges that they are facing are really not. Every business has its unique needs. One company, for example, needs to build a huge enterprise banking system, and then another one can build a gaming platform, or another can focus on AI, ML, and training and running large language models. But at the same time, they all face similar challenges. They need to iterate quickly, they need to make their system stable, they need to build confidence with their customers. And they also need to scale as they grow, and they need to do it with the least amount of effort. So my main advice to everyone who's currently building or looking to build something in the cloud is to look at reusable patterns. The chances are your problem is not new and you're not that special, and somebody already created a solution for it. So it may be just a concept such as introducing GitOps to your CI/CD workflows, or entire architecture patterns, which will make your life much easier. The main point is that you don't want to reinvent the wheel. And this leads me to the topic of platform engineering. Platform engineering is an emerging topic and is often used as another buzzword for DevOps. But in reality, platform engineering and DevOps, while closely related, serve a very distinct purpose and come from slightly different paradigms. While DevOps focuses on streamlining the process of getting software from developers to production, platform engineering is more focused on providing some standardized, reusable infrastructure components that developers can leverage without doing everything from scratch. So it's about building a platform or some kind of a foundation on which applications are developed, deployed, and operated. This platform is often cloud native, leveraging some of the best tools and technologies to ensure scalability and also reliability and, most importantly, maintainability. And now, to put it simply, the goal of platform engineering is to provide developers with a foundation, and a foundation that they can take and without too much overhead, extend and build on top of. The reality is that developers rarely want to deal with infrastructure. Of course, they need it, but they don't want to be bothered by spending time on actually making it. And at the end, if you think about it, this makes total sense. The company employs developers to create new features, to extend the product, to make it better. And burdening them with additional overhead is counterproductive. Our goal should be to give them the tools they need to do their job efficiently. And there's also a good chance that your company is already doing some sort of a platform engineering, even without you knowing it. For example, building a reusability CI/CD patterns or creating some unifying observability stack is platform engineering at its core. Now, let's talk how and why we can utilize some cloud-native solutions in the process. And as Adam mentioned before, today's companies are moving quickly, so they need to adapt to new challenges and find solutions for problems that emerge over time. And we as platform engineers need to find solutions for problems that we might have not anticipated, and we need to do it quickly. And cloud-native solutions are great for that. They offer many solutions how to make the system adaptable and flexible. And they also offer many solutions to make the system reliable. And with cloud, it's easy to get something you need at the time. For example, you need a new database, here's a new database. You need a new load balancer, with one click you can have a new load balancer. The problem is that cloud solutions alone do not make the system easy to navigate and maintain. Often it's quite the opposite, and that's where the concept of platform engineering proves vital. When you want to create a cloud-native platform, you should focus on consistency. You need to make sure that the resources that you're creating can be managed in the long term. Most of the time, day-to-day operations take more effort than building the solution. So enforcing consistency can lead to lower operational burden in the long run. And using patterns such as infrastructure as code is crucial in this matter. It adds reusability, it adds consistency to your platform. Over time, we also found that Kubernetes can serve as a common platform for application workload. It offers great ways for making the workload scalable and reliable. And most importantly, it can provide ways of providing your team with an abstraction layer that can help them deploy and deliver services quickly and efficiently. And observability and CI/CD go hand in hand with this approach. Giving your developers a good visibility into their systems and applications and good methods for building and deployment automation will eventually translate into delivering features more consistently and more quickly. And a good example of this is the Conway's Law, which states that any organization that designs a system will produce a design whose structure is a copy of the organization's communication structure. So having a functional structure in your company relates to having a functional product, and platform engineering is one of the ways to support such a structure by enforcing consistency and by giving your developers and staff some ways of progressing more quickly thanks to its concepts. And as I've mentioned before, we've been through the process a lot. Our goal as a company is to give our clients the opportunity to move forward and accelerate their business. And as a company which is focused on delivering cloud solutions, we embrace the platform engineering principles and deliver a platform that we call Lara for our customers. The primary goals of Lara is to lower delivery time, operational burden, and provide you as a customer with some solid foundations to build on top of. And with Lara, we focus on providing ways of management of the AWS infrastructure and focus on giving our clients sustainable and suitable ways for managing their workloads. Our goal is not only to make your infrastructure stable, scalable and reliable, but also to give your development teams an ability to move forward and not waste time on building something that has already been built. And we started from scratch, as many of you. We spent quite some time on developing our solution. Now we're about over 5,000 hours of development and hundreds of PRs in. Currently, we have 15 plus production platforms running at the same base using the same core, focusing on startup scale-ups, banking, gaming, and many other segments. So you don't really have to start from scratch and do it as us. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And if you're interested in knowing more, don't hesitate to contact us. So thank you. If you have any questions, me and Adam are more than happy to answer. So let's see if there's anything. So there are two. One is for Adam, I think. The question is if you get the new haircut just for this. You're on mute, so you have to unmute yourself.
Not really, but having this webinar was one of the reasons I went to my barber.
Okay, so another one is, so what is the solution if I don't want to lose money from missing opportunities, not releasing developing new features because we forces developers to override half of the application and want to minimize cost of infrastructure in the same time?
Yeah, so that maybe comes to me, so I will try to answer it. Is the way how we look at it from our own experience is that it's very often easier to offload like the infrastructure development and infrastructure maintenance to basically to us or to someone else, to your partner, and use pre-existing solutions for that. So if you look at Lara, as Martin said, we invested quite a lot of time and effort there. So if you take it and deploy it on your own, or we deploy it for you, you have already working platform which can be quite easily customized for your needs. And you can migrate your application or deploy your application there, and you are ready to go in weeks, not in months or years. And you have different features there you can actually use over time. You can add security, you can add observability, you can add data analytics, and you can build on top of that. Like, we are not really developing nothing groundbreaking. We take existing managed services, we integrate them together, and we create scripts and Terraform modules you can use, adapt, and develop over time. So we believe is that to take something which is existing reusable as a blueprint and build on top of that is a solution where you don't really have to force your developers to do a lot of stuff which doesn't bring like immediate value to your team and your company.
Okay, I think that's all we have. I guess thanks everybody for joining. If you have any questions after this, feel free to contact us. If you're interested in knowing more, feel free to reach out. We have some materials on our webpage as well, so please check them out, and hope to see you again at some other occasion.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you.
It was perfect. See you next time. Bye.